Good evening and welcome. Thank you for being here tonight to share in this very special occasion. If everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to introduce the officers of this year's National Honor Society. I am Joseph Britt Simpson, President. Vice President Zainab Imanit, Secretary Alexis Lambertino, and Treasurer Olivia Williams. I would like to introduce Mr. Flacco, the National Honor Society Advisor.
Good evening. On behalf of the faculty, administration, and community of Sterling High School and the National Honor Society, I would like to welcome everyone. First, I'd like to introduce our honored guests, Mr. Sheehan, Ms. Considine, Mr. Redmond, Mr. McCullough, Mr. Claiborne is here this evening, Ms. Sukanik, and our honorary inductee, Ms. Walsh. We also have members of our Board of Education with us this evening. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Welcome everyone to our ceremony. Tonight we honor the students on stage for achieving excellence. We congratulate them on their effort and achievement. We thank their teachers, their coaches, for shaping them intellectually, emotionally, and physically. Most importantly, we honor their parents who play the most important role in their students' achievement. This ceremony will define what each of the letters of that seal behind me represent: scholarship, character, leadership, and service. As moderator, I have the unique opportunity to witness that in each of the students that you see here today. I would also like to add this evening, if you look on the inside of your program, you'll notice the logo that's on the bottom left-hand corner was designed by former Sterling student Brooke Murray. I'm happy to say that Brooke is now a mentor for one of our students here this evening. So we're happy to have her back in our Sterling community. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Sheehan, our principal.
Good evening, and to follow Mr. Flacco, I'd just like to welcome everybody to our National Honor Society induction ceremony, but I'd also like to recognize Mr. Flacco and the NHS committee for their efforts in preparing the students for this event this evening. Every year when I look at the school calendar, there are certain things that I look forward to as a principal: the first day of school, Spirit Week, homecoming, Christmas break, and graduation. The NHS induction ceremony is certainly one of the best events of the school year. First, it is a great night. The kids look good. There's positive vibes throughout the auditorium. It's a celebration of everything that is positive about high school. It's a great school community event. Second, we are honoring students who get it. They are well-rounded academically, socially, they have great character, they serve others, and are developing leadership skills. You are all worthy members of the Sterling High School National Honor Society. Finally, what makes this night really stand out for me is when the students honor their mentors. The students consider those around them who have had a great influence on their lives, those who have guided, inspired, challenged, those who have made a positive impact. These young men and women have taken your lead, they've learned your lessons, and they've chosen you as important people in their lives at this point and beyond. Robert Frost reminds us that taking the road less traveled made all the difference for him. As you travel down your own road, my hope and belief is that each of you will always lean on the values, ethics, and character that you have developed as you make those difficult choices throughout your lives. Congratulations once again to the honorees, and thank you to all the mentors.
The candle of knowledge symbolizes the light of learning. It is surrounded by the 4 pillars of the National Honor Society: scholarship, leadership, character, and service. The candle of knowledge will be used to light the 4 pillars. Scholarship. Scholarship means commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours reading and studying, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn when formal education has ended, for education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp with which we read the past and the light which illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherited in scholarship.
Service can be described in various ways. In the routine of a day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or recognition is the quality we seek in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and abilities to the creation of a better tomorrow.
Character is the force within each individual which displays that person from others. It gives each of us our individuality. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is the force of character that guides one through life, and when one, once developed, grows steadily. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant action, daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school, in taking initiative in class and outside. The real leader strives to train and others attain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interest for the interest of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a country, they are ineffectual without a guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed, thus to lead a substantive charge to each of our members.
At this time, our senior members would like to honor their mentors who have guided them and encouraged them along their journeys. We ask that each mentor come up to the stage to bestow the NHS stole upon them at the end of their speech. I would just ask that the mentors in the audience, as you see the student approach the podium, if you can just meet me up over here on the side, I will give you the stole, and when they are finished their speech, they'll come around the front of the podium to take a photograph with you.
What defines a good mentor? Well, that can be different depending on who you ask. Certain people have certain expectations they'd like to live up to, and therefore certain people to look upon for guidance in the right direction. From the moment I was born, I was blessed with a constant support system that would have my back through anything. Of the many people who support me every day, I chose to speak about my Aunt Patty. Patty Cush is a perfect example of what I strive to be: genuine, kind, intelligent, and a beautiful person inside and out. For as long as I can remember, she has been there for me. Before she had children of her own, I was like the child she never had, and she was like another mother for me. From then until now, my aunt has helped me through everything from issues with school to relationship problems, and has done so with so much patience and wisdom, for which I cannot thank her enough. Above all, my aunt has instilled in me some of the best advice someone could offer a 17-year-old. Every time I leave her, I not only get a hug and kiss goodbye, but a simple, make good choices. Now, I know this sounds like something all adults say to children, but to me, it means something more. It's my reminder that being a good person means making the hard decisions, like skipping a party to do paper. So even when she doesn't tell me this, it is always stuck in the back of my head. My aunt has been an integral part of my success, and for that I am eternally grateful. Thank you, Aunt Patty, for guiding me along the right path and never giving up on making sure I am the best that I can be. I only hope that one day I can do as much for you as you have done for me. Thank you so much, and it is with great pride and honor that I stand up here and call you my mentor.
When Missy went to Elizabeth Beisel, Krishma Patel, and Elena Stott with her plan to vote out Tommy, they all seemed to be on board. However, Krishma hatched a separate plan to get out Missy, whom she saw as a bully. Tommy and Elaine fell in line behind Krishma, and Missy was voted out by a narrow 3-2 vote. Are you confused? This is the latest update for Survivor. For some odd reason, Mr. Manlove can lead any conversation into one about which Survivor contestant is being voted off. I don't recognize any of the people from Survivor, yet his excitement is enough to keep me wondering where he's going with this. He swears that one day he's going to be on the show. But I think all of us know that Mr. Manlove really wants to be on Survivor. He doesn't really need an introduction since we've all had him for either English, freshman year, or if you're like me, he's your tennis coach. As a teacher, Mr. Manlove was a breath of fresh air following my middle school teachers. His classes were a time of new beginnings. They helped to make it a welcome one at that. Not only did we accomplish everything on the agenda, but he also had time to predict Survivor and the Cowboys statistics every day. His class was fun, challenging, and a wild ride all around. At one point, he had assigned 75 vocab words for the week and expected us to remember all of them. He didn't care about our complaints, and I enjoyed this no-nonsense attitude, which prepared me for the rest of my high school experience. It's always nice to see him in the halls for that cheesy howdy, howdy. I don't know if anybody has told him this yet, but he's not from Texas. In terms of tennis, I don't think I could have asked for a better coach. I joined the tennis team during my junior year on a whim and just wanted to try something different. Although his knees are weak with little cartilage left, he has managed to accidentally whack me in the face with a tennis ball on multiple occasions. I had made fun of him stumbling through the halls following his surgery, yet he came back in better health than I am at the moment. I want to be like him one day, balancing work and hobbies as well as he does. You'd think he wouldn't be good at running back and forth, but his hits will take you out. One day, I want to be a man of the people like Mr. Manlove. His ability to connect with people and never-ending conversations are remarkable. Thank you for everything, and it's an honor to call you my mentor.
I want to thank Miss Emily Caracho, but Bren to me, for everything you have given me. I came to my first high school practice scared, not knowing anyone. We formed a bond when you introduced yourself, saying you were a goalkeeper growing up and played soccer in college. You also told me that you were a twin, and I went up to you when I told you I was a triplet. It was that practice that I found an instant connection with you. The day you put me my first varsity scrimmage is a memory that plays in my mind every time I step on the field. It's a big reason how I got to where I am today. I never thought I would be given the chance to start varsity my freshman year, but you gave me that chance. I was a small fish swimming in a large pond. You had other players that could easily take my position, but in order to keep my position, I was going to work hard and show you that you had taken the right chance on me. And that is when I knew that you believed in me more than I believed in myself. I would not be the person or player I am today if it weren't for the lessons I've learned from you. You take the extra time to not only be our coach and teacher, but a mentor and a great role model to look up to. You have watched me grow and are there for me every step of the way. I asked you one day if you thought I had what it takes to play soccer at the collegiate level, and your response to that was, you could go D1 if you wanted to. You support my goals, big and small. You push me to believe that I can be a college athlete, even when I thought I was nowhere near capable. If it weren't for your help, I probably would have never sent an email to a college coach. You continue to remind me that I will find the right college and that any school would be lucky to have me on their team. Our bond doesn't end when I receive my diploma. You're always someone I can talk to no matter where I go after high school. You're just a phone call away. Through the highs and lows, the long hot practices I thought would never end, and the tough losses, playing soccer was the best decision I ever made, and I owe it all to you. Thank you for teaching me lessons far beyond the game, and I'm starting to believe that keepers are just a different kind of breed.
I chose Mr. Behringer to be my mentor for many reasons. Since the moment I stepped foot into Sterling High School, Mr. Behringer has pushed me to be the best version of myself in all aspects of life. He encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone and to take risks. When I'm having a bad day, Mr. Behringer immediately notices and provides me with support and advice on the situation. Because of him, I've made lifelong friends, stayed sane during high school, and achieved things I never thought were possible. Mr. Behringer has made a huge impact on my life, and I will forever be grateful for everything he has done for me. Thank you, B.
Growing up, school was always a place I loved to go. Though I loved going there, I didn't always have the best times and wasn't always treated fairly by my superiors. As I progressed, it got better as I started to meet teachers who were genuine and helped me to see my potential and many great qualities. My 8th grade year, I met a teacher who would impact me not just in school, but in life. It's funny to think back on my first day in Ms. Rutherford's English class and how nervous I was. She really wanted to scare us and have us think the workload would be like nothing we'd ever seen and that she was really mean. That wore off quick. After a few weeks, Honors English was everyone's favorite class, especially mine. Though she challenged us, she made class exciting and made learning fun. Ms. Rutherford helped me to really find my passion for writing and allowed me to be creative and express how I felt without judgment. She had genuine conversations with me and always wanted to hear about what was going on in my life and let me know what was going on in hers. I consider her to be my school mom as she really cared and made her classroom a very safe space. I could go on and on about all the fun times I had while being Ms. Rutherford's class and how much of a fun-loving and passionate teacher she is, but what makes our bond truly special and why I appreciate her so much is because she was the first person to really make me feel heard and understood. Like I said, school was not always the best environment for me, and as I got older, though things improved, I also became more aware of some of the things that did happen to me in the past. And in 8th grade, though things were good, I still struggled with the memories of those past times as they still sometimes crept into my mind and upset me. The day that truly strengthened me as a person was after a big, deep group discussion in English class. Old wounds I didn't really know I had reopened. Ms. Rutherford noticed this and let me sit in her room to talk, just us if I wanted to. That moment was the first time I expressed everything I was feeling and talked about things I had never talked about before, and Ms. Rutherford listened to every single word. She didn't just talk to me like any old teacher would. She had a real conversation with me, and over the next few months helped me to come to peace with the past and see all the good in my future. To this day, I know I can always go to her if I need something. The strong person I am today that isn't afraid to speak on how I feel is definitely thanks to Ms. Rutherford. I hope I can embody even half of your passion and nurturing soul as I continue to grow. I'm honored to have met you, and thank you for being my mentor.
When I was asked to pick a mentor, I thought about my parents and my grandparents and my family and friends. And then I thought outside of the circle and realized that this person has helped me change so much since I was a kid. Though she probably didn't realize what an impact she made on me, this person has helped me grow not only as a performer, but as a person as well. I have known Miss Galazniak since the 5th grade when I came to Sterling High School to be in the production of Fiddler on the Roof. I didn't know it then, but this person would truly change my life forever. When I got into high school, it was nice to see a familiar face when I tried out for Silvertones. When I made the group, I started to get to know Miss Galazniak more than I did before. When I first met her, she was someone who just worked on the props and sets, which was so cool. But by my freshman year, she was the choreographer of Silvertones and also for the musical. When the group split, though, this is when I can say she really started to change my life. I got to spend countless hours with her working on dances, and my junior year, she let me start to choreograph, and I got to choreograph my first dance, which she helped me tap into my more creative side. She helped me learn lifts and how to grow not only as a dancer, but as a choreographer. Letting me choreograph helped me as a person as much as it helped me become a better dancer. It taught me how to take charge of a group of people in a kind and respectful way. Even though I am leaving Sterling this year, I know I will always have a friend here. Someone I can talk to, laugh with, and cry with. Someone who will support me and always give me their honest opinion. So thank you, Miss G, for helping me not only blossom as a dancer, but for making me the best me I could be.
Miss Gelda, the first thing you've told my 7th grade English class is that your name rhymes with Zelda. And I know it's kind of silly, but from that small moment, I knew that you'd be the most influential teacher I'd have. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, like us, because you know what you mean to me. Ms. Gelda, you know that throughout these years, you've taught me so much more than English. You taught me about the earth, about peace, and about being kind to not only others, but to yourself. I remember it was an academic enrichment where we shared our love for gardening, creating compost piles and reading about worms and their impact, but your impact branches farther than just our love for nature. You've helped me love reading and introduced me to some of my favorite books. More importantly, you were always the first person I'd reach out to after a bad day. Since I've entered high school, I haven't had the time to talk to you as much as I would have wanted, but even though we haven't spoken in a while, all you've taught me has turned me into the person I am today. Since I've left Lindenwold, I've noticed your impact on the school and the gardens you've grown and all the hard work that's gone into it, and I'm so proud of you. So I invite you here today as my mentor for the National Honor Society, and I hope you're proud of me too.
Sorry. Okay. My mentor is my mom.
She's always been there for me and has been the best support system anyone could ask for. She's the one that keeps the house clean and orderly, the one that does the laundry, cooks the food, which is always amazing, of course. She even mows the lawn and shovels the driveway. She's pretty much the man of the house. Sorry, Dad. Mom single-handedly keeps our crazy household in order, which is not easy to do considering all 5 kids running around the house. There's so many amazing things she does. I don't even have time to talk about them all. Like how she volunteers every Wednesday at Seeds of Hope in Camden, an outreach for women living on the streets addicted to drugs. Or how she's heavily involved in Foster the Family, overseeing the support of foster parents and kids in Camden County. She's a foster parent of 10 years herself, has 5 kids, 2 of which were adopted and are currently 5 and 2 and doing great. Let's not forget about the 13 years she's been doing the Avon Walk, a walk to raise money in the fight against breast cancer. The walk is just a casual 39 miles, but recently she joined a new one that's 60 miles. If I sat here and told you all the other things that make my mom so unique and awesome, by the time I finish, it would be time for me to graduate. Mom, thank you for being my support system, my role model, my mentor, and just the best person that I know. You are amazing, wonderful, beautiful, funny, and smart. I know I don't say this nearly enough, but I love you so much.
Mrs. Taylor, I think I can rightfully say that without your mentorship, I would not be where I am today. To those of you who don't know, Mrs. Taylor was my teacher throughout middle school. She was unique in that she challenged me not only to be a better person, but to be a better student and to look at things from a different angle. Mrs. Taylor was the first person to foster my love of creating and building. Not only did she introduce me to engineering and everything it had to offer, but she gave me an opportunity to try it out. Mrs. Taylor centered her classes around STEM and engineering, and I am so much better off for it. Without Mrs. Taylor, I might just be another confused high school senior who doesn't know what they want to do with their life. But because of her, I know what I want to do, I know what I want to become, and I know that it is something I can be good at. But Mrs. Taylor did more for me than lead me down the right path. She was a teacher who I could always turn to for help, and to this day, I know she will always be there when I need her. So thank you, Mrs. Taylor. I cannot put into words how thankful I am for you, and I want you to know that you have had a huge impact on my life, and I would not be the person I am today without your mentorship.
Good evening. The past 3 years has been quite an experience for me. Through the hard times and the great times, I fought hard not only to do well in school, but to also become a better me. The older me and the more matured me. Through this constant battle, I never stood alone. Within my past 3 years at Sterling High School, I had many people, both students and teachers, push me to success, and I thank them all. But tonight, I would like to point out the one mentor of mine that did something quite unique. Unlike the many mentors who pushed me to become a greater person, it was this mentor that unintentionally pushed me, or myself, to be more like them. And for this reason alone, I would like to thank Mr. Atine for being my mentor and tennis coach. I first met Mr. Atine through tennis, and since the first day of practice, I could tell he was unlike the other coaches that I had before him. Unlike the coaches I had before over the years, Mr. Atine didn't coach the sport first. He taught his team character and how to perform as a gentleman on the tennis court. For this reason, I had always seen him as someone I could go to whenever I would need advice, both on and off the court. Even when tennis season was over, I would always pass him in the hallways, and I would always be greeted by him. Every time he asked how I was doing in school and always kept a joyful attitude. Through the past 3 years, I've known Mr. Atine. I've always had stories of his past experiences that had taught me valuable lessons that have already helped me improve my life. While Page alone doesn't give justice to my gratitude for Mr. Atine, I am positive that without my high school experience, would have not been the same without him. Even after high school, I know that Mr. Atine will always be there to give advice when I fall upon hard times. With this being, thank you for everything, and I'm excited to share my final season with you in the spring. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it tonight. However, fortunately, it was because he had a baby boy yesterday, so yeah.
my sophomore year first began, I had no intention of taking AP US History. I figured that it would be too difficult of a class to take, and I wouldn't be good enough or smart enough to pass the exam. Luckily, about a week before the second semester began, I decided that I wanted to challenge myself and sign up for it. By taking that class, I met my mentor, Mr. Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter, I believe, represents the qualities that every teacher should have. He is one of the most selfless people I've ever met. He constantly gives and never asks for anything in return. He's honest and will support no matter what. Most importantly, he genuinely cares. He dedicates his time on a daily basis to give me and my fellow classmates advice on anything that is troubling us. I feel comfortable going to him for things as silly as boy troubles to things as important as college applications. With anything thrown his way, he is fully prepared to guide and aid any student that walks into his room, regardless of whether he has ever taught them or not. There is no question that Carp loves his job. This is demonstrated in the way that he teaches his students. It makes us feel the same passion that he demonstrates on what he is teaching. My high school experience would have not been the same if I had never met Mr. Carp. When I first met him, I was a sophomore scared for the future. Now I'm a blossoming young woman who has barely scratched the surface of my potential. I wouldn't be the person I am today without the help and guidance that Carp has provided me, and I don't think I will ever be able to thank him enough for what he's done.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to introduce my mentor, my mother, Margarita Gomez. As my mother, she's instilled values in me that have allowed me to reach this point. She taught me to never give up and to always put my best foot forward. And although there were many difficult obstacles along the way, she helped me to overcome them. She was always willing to take time to teach me and has continued that routine with my younger siblings. My mother has also taught me to be a leader and not a follower, which has helped me lead both the graphic design club and the writing club. She's helped me keep going when work seemed unbearable and the pressure seemed insurmountable. Without my mother, I would most likely not be here, getting inducted today, and this is why I have chosen her as my mentor for this evening. Thank you.
I'm not seeing my speech here.
Go back.
Go back. Got it. My apologies. Mr. Carpenter is the kind of teacher that gets a whole line of kids each year claiming him as a mentor. Having him myself, I see why. I cannot imagine what my high school experience would have been like without him. From the first day of class, I have found myself constantly in admiration of his intelligence and fire. Carp is a brilliant teacher who never fails to be honest or engaging. He is fully himself, never pays much mind to rules in the best way, and truly cares for his students as though we are his own kids. There was never a day in his classes where I didn't learn, and never a day that he didn't challenge us to think for ourselves. I look up to him as an example of someone who went to college on their own and fought their way to a satisfying life. He does what he loves and spends his time off in the real world, not disillusioned with so much of life's distractions. As someone whose parents never shared similar ambitions, I think Carp has been an important role model to have. He validates my dreams and encourages me to expand on them and demand more out of life. He's there to help me navigate the foreign world of college applications and paperwork when I need him, and routinely throws my fears of failure to the wind, never allowing me to limit or discredit myself. From the student debt crisis to rotten corporations and politicians, Carp shares a lot of the fears I have about the world. I sat through plenty of his rants hearing my own frustrations spoken aloud, but I never walk away feeling jaded. The man's a history teacher. He can talk about injustice for hours, and if you let him, he will. But he also undeniably sees possibility in the world, and especially so in his students. Being in his class has helped me to see the good beyond the doom and gloom. His boundless faith in me has also inspired my own faith in myself. CARP has taught me to advocate for my own education, to celebrate my achievements instead of just pushing mindlessly ahead, and above all, always make sure I am okay. He is a confidant to me like no other. I tell him everything that goes on at home, and he assures me that learning and education are a way out. He understands the anxiety and pressure of it all and has always helped me. I spent my junior year homeless. He was there every step of the way by accommodating my studies when we were evicted, offering his own time and labor when the storage unit containing everything my family owned flooded, and this October when I could finally tell him we had secured a home. It was a tough year, and anything he could do to make it easier, he did. As long as I've known him, CARP's words of encouragement and kindness have been my greatest source of guidance. In him, his students find not only one hell of a history teacher, but a friend. As infuriatingly humble as he is, I know he won't think much of the praise I've given him today. I do hope, however, that he walks away knowing how appreciative I am. Thank you for seeing and fostering the best in me, Mountain Man. And thank you for everything you've given me and then still more. I couldn't have chosen a better mentor.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Guy, and I've selected Commander Eric Humphreys as my mentor. Coming into Sterling as a freshman, I was a nervous wreck. I didn't have any friends as I was a choice student from Lindenwold, and I didn't know what to expect from high school or the NJROTC program. Luckily, I had Commander Humphreys to look to for guidance, as he was and still is in charge of NJROTC. Commander does everything in his power to help students succeed during and after high school, and sure enough, he was there to get me on track and make me feel welcome as soon as I first walked through the door. I first met Commander after I graduated middle school at an ROTC camp for middle schoolers. As I was feeling down and lonely on my first day, he assured me that the unit was a family and that I'd made the right decision by attending the summer camp, as I'd be set up with a group of friends before the school year began. His words of encouragement allowed me to loosen up a bit and enjoy the rest of the week. A few months later, on my first day at Sterling, Commander guided me to my first block classroom as I'd been late due to a locker issue. While greeting me, he called me Jake instead of Josh by accident. I still don't know how Jake and Josh sound similar, or how I look like Jake in the first place, but that isn't the point. He helped me, and that's all that matters. Since then, Commander has helped me in numerous other ways. He's offered his support in my college application process, providing me with many letters of recommendation, nominations, and practice interviews. Additionally, he's helped me grow as a leader, giving me the opportunity to attend summer leadership training camps and take charge of many ROTC events and operations. There is no doubt that Commander does everything he can to ensure that his students thrive in all aspects of their lives. With Commander's help, I've transformed from an unsure freshman to a leader with much more confidence and direction than I ever had before. I can't give him enough credit for everything I've accomplished. Thank you, sir.
Oxford Dictionary defines a mentor as an experienced and trusted advisor. While that is true, my mentor means so much more to me than that. He is a teacher, a role model, and a friend. My mentor is my middle school teacher, Mr. Zachary Camerari. I remember the first time I saw him step foot in the building, and I thought to myself, he's way too young to be a teacher. My grade was the first class that he had by himself after finishing his student teaching. He didn't know exactly what he was doing, but that was what made it so fun and memorable. He made it apparent, though, from day one that he wanted his room to be a nurturing and safe environment. Middle school was a really hard time for me, harder than he probably realized, but he was always there for me. Anytime I wanted to talk or get something off my chest that was bothering me, he would never hesitate to stay and talk. He always valued what I had to say and would encourage me to be the best that I could be. He was the person who taught me how to break free from my shell and express myself. I felt like I was finally able to say things that I was feeling inside for years but was unable to put into words. If it wasn't for Mr. Camerari, I would not be who I am today. I grew so much as a person in the 2 years that I had him. A close group of friends and I, who also went to Magnolia Public, still go back and visit our middle school teachers whenever we can to keep them updated on our lives. As soon as we walk back into those doors, it's as if we never left. Mr. Camerari and all of the others make us feel so welcome, and they care just as much now as they did 4 or 5 years ago. Mr. Camerari is a rare type of teacher. He is the kind of teacher who makes school enjoyable. Even when the world was falling apart, I'd be excited to walk into his class every day, wondering what kind of crazy new teaching method he found on Pinterest he'd be trying to use today. Some of the best memories I have in school, and maybe even in life, are from his classes. He is the type of person who wants to see others succeed and will do anything to help get them there. He is always patient and understanding when people start struggling. He is passionate about his job and the students he teaches. I truly think the world would be better with more people like him. Even with all the skills he taught me, I still cannot put into words my gratitude, but for what it's worth, thank you, Mr. Camerari. Thank you for everything you've done for me.
Good evening. My name is Raylan, and my mentor is my third grade teacher, Mrs. Natal. Mrs. Natal has had an enormous impact on me in more ways than one. She was one of many people who inspired me to go into elementary teaching when I graduate. I remember when I was in third grade, I would receive basic skills math. I would get pulled out of her class to practice my math skills in a smaller group. With the extra help I received from Mrs. Natal in her class, I exited out of basic skills by the end of the year. My goal is to be able to help students the way she has helped me. Mrs. Natal made me into a better student and, more importantly, a better person. I want to thank you for pushing me to do my very best and for allowing me to come into your classroom next semester to volunteer. I know that I'm going to learn so much while observing you do what you do best. One day, I hope I can be half the teacher you are today. Thank you for being you and for believing in me.
I still remember my first impressions of Mr. Behringer, the friendly neighborhood light-skinned teacher who everyone adored. I remember he came into my history class when we were in the computer lab, and all you heard was, "JB, oh my God, JB, you're the man. Is that the Justin Behringer?" And I'm just sitting there wondering what makes this guy so great, because I hadn't had him for anything yet, and of course I immediately thought he was overrated, even though I didn't know him, because I mean, who doesn't jump to opinionated and unwarranted conclusions these days? I had study hall next to his room and remember being jealous of the class office at the time because they seemed like they really just had a fun and cool vibe. So I went out for it sophomore year. This happened to align with me playing soccer for the first time, with him being my coach for JV. And this is when we started to click. I found out he was actually down to earth and not some prima donna who bathed in the attention. Just me being around him all the time is not why I chose him as my mentor, though. It felt almost like he took me under his wing in a way and really helped me find who I was as a person, a teammate, and a leader. To be able to have this much of an impact on me as a teacher in realms completely unrelated from school is what I valued most from our relationship. It felt like it was something more real than just helping me get through the moment, rather cultivating me for the real world and life in general. Being in class office and having him as a coach again junior year, because, you know, JV All-Star or whatever, not to brag, only led to us becoming closer. I still remember the looks of disappointment on his face during Spirit Week, accompanied by heated conversations which although at the time brought about a great disliking towards him, really helped to polish me as a leader and a cooperative member of a team in the long run. I'll always cherish the long talks we'd have alone, ranging from me improving as a leader to philosophical debates on ethical dilemmas that often resulted in existential crises. And I'll always remember how funny it was watching you try and keep up with conditioned high schoolers during summer. Thank you for it all.
A mentor is someone who helps you believe in yourself, even when you no longer can. They're there to remind you that even on your worst nights, the sun will rise in the morning and you can try again. They're there to help you value the hope and strengths that you have inside yourself and use it to make you a better person. My mentor has taught me many valuable life lessons. From him, I have learned that giving up is never an option. It is going to get harder before it gets better, but it'll get easier. I have learned a lot about grief and love from my mentor. Pain passes. We never truly get over a loss. We just try to move forward and evolve from it. It's the price we pay for love, and nothing could ever take away the memories that have been created throughout a lifetime. There is an important difference in giving up and letting go. Sometimes you need to let go to get better things in your life. Forget what's gone and appreciate what's left. There's always better things to come. My mentor is my grandfather, and I am forever grateful for everything he has brought into my life. I cannot thank him enough for being such an inspiration to me and bringing me mentorship that will last a lifetime.
As many of you know, it is very rare for a Sterling High School student to get the privilege of having a teacher for all 4 years. Mr. Young is one of the only teachers who can say that they watched me grow up from being a scared freshman to a senior. No other teacher has seen me laugh, cry, or learn as much as he did. What makes Mr. Young such a unique teacher is he gets to know his students personally to discover specific ways to help them while learning music. He devotes so much time into our band, and watching him give so much energy into teaching makes it difficult to not be passionate about music. I knew from the moment I met him that I would have an interesting but positive experience in band during my high school years. He supported me and helped me through countless dilemmas, like dragging me out of the Columbus Day Parade into a Starbucks in full marching band uniform when I said I had to use the bathroom, sprinting across Washington Township's high school campus when I had a low blood sugar to see if I needed him to stab me with the Thing, my glucagon pen. And on a more serious note, giving me a reality check that I desperately needed when I started my college application process. I have him to thank for leading me on the right path for my future. Mr. Young never gives up on us. Even when band rehearsals are painfully awful and nothing is going right, he keeps on pushing us. Concert band and after-school practices for either marching band or jazz band has always been my favorite part of the day. Needless to say, every rehearsal is an adventure filled with new jokes, new stories, and lots of progress. His endless supply of unique metaphors and desperate pleas for us to sound good really keeps us all motivated. Thank you for being the reason I like coming to school every day. Thank you for giving up such a huge part of your life for us to have an amazing experience in band. Thank you for making sure I never quit the clarinet freshman year when I really wanted to. You're the reason why my high school years will be memorable, and I can almost guarantee I'll never be another teacher like you.
One of my favorite memories I have with my mentor happened my freshman year. We were in concert band, and one student was having trouble playing his part while other parts were happening at the same time. To help the student learn how to play with distractions, my mentor had him play by himself. Next thing you know, my mentor starts screaming, "Ah!" at the top of his lungs while the student continues to play. This somewhat unorthodox teaching method helped the student while giving everyone else a good laugh. This is just one example of how Mr. Young's teachings has inspired me. I would not be the person I am today without him, and his role as a mentor in my life is incomparable. I first met Mr. Young when I was 12 years old and joined Sterling's marching band as a middle school student. It was intimidating to say the least, but my initial uneasiness quickly vanished when Mr. Young introduced himself to me. Throughout the next 6 years, I've only developed more and more respect for him. Mr. Young is by far the best music teacher I've ever had, and I am so incredibly lucky to be one of his students. Besides Mr. Young's obvious talent in teaching, he is also incredibly supportive of all his students. He pushes them to be the best versions of themselves and has done the same for me. When I wanted to audition for All South Jersey, Mr. Young supported me. When I wanted to play in the pit orchestra for Sterling's production of Les Mis, he helped me learn the music. When I won Homecoming Queen, he was more excited than I was. He even supported me when I had to split my time between concert band and AP history prep, even though it meant that I would miss band 50% of the time. I know that any other band director would not give me nearly as much confidence and opportunity to achieve all that I have. Mr. Young has also given me the confidence to follow my dreams. He has helped me learn that I can do anything with my life and that I will be okay. As much as I am excited about starting a new chapter next year, I am heartbroken to know that Mr. Young will no longer be my band director. After 6 long years, Mr. Young's presence in my life will shrink drastically, but his importance in my life will remain the same. Thank you, Mr. Young, for everything that you have done for me. I will miss you so much next year. When I look back on my high school experience, you will be one of the first people to come to mind. I can only hope that my presence in your life has had 1/10 of the importance that your presence has had in mine, and if I didn't make you cry with this, don't worry, I'm saving it for the banquet.
Good evening. Let me introduce my mentor. Miss Karen has been my youth church leader since I was in 6th grade. She has helped me through a lot, through high school and middle school, and she's helped me grow mentally and spiritually. I consider her a second mother, and she'll always have a special place in my heart. She's a hardworking woman who demonstrates leadership skills on a daily basis and has taught me to help others with a loving heart. I can't thank you enough for being by my side. I love you very much.
Mr. Young has been my music teacher for 4 years now, and I can honestly say that he has been a great mentor to me and many other band kids throughout his career at Sterling. He genuinely cares deeply about every single person that he teaches and has had a major positive impact on me. He always gives his honest opinion and pushes his students to be the best versions of themselves. Plus, he always delivers his criticism in the form of jokes or exaggerated yelling, leaving us with no choice but to laugh at our own silly mistakes and strive to do better. This environment helped me a lot because when I first came to Sterling, I was a terrified, awkward 14-year-old kid who could barely play the flute. Now, I'm slightly less awkward, and my flute skills have improved greatly, and so has my confidence thanks to his help. In marching band, we had tests called tagouts where we would be tested on our ability to perform it on our marching band show. If an instructor spotted us making a mistake, we would get tagged out, and whoever made it to the end of the show would pass. In my first year of marching band, I did not pass a single tagout. However, after each time that I messed up, Mr. Young would always tell me where I went wrong and would help me to do better next time. When we had the final tagout of that first year, I did not pass, but I almost made it to the end. Now, having completed my 3rd year of marching band, I can proudly say that I passed almost every single tagout that we had this year. His mentorship also applied to the traditional classroom since I'm taking music theory this semester. It is not an easy subject, so Mr. Young makes sure to help explain the concepts to us any way he can so that we can understand. He always tries to help every student succeed throughout their high school career and has helped me to become a better musician in person. Mr. Young is a great mentor, and I'm sincerely going to miss having him as my teacher. Thank you for everything, Mr. Young.
The American pianist Herbie Hancock once said, "I've learned a lot from mentors who were instrumental in shaping me, and I want to share what I've learned." Mrs. McKee is the epitome of a mentor. As an advocate for LGBTQ rights, she does everything she can to make everyone feel accepted. She has inspired me through her leadership roles as a teacher and through the guidance she has provided for the GSA members. Mrs. McKee is someone who fights for equality and for equal representation of all students. Mrs. McKee is passionate, dedicated, and caring. She has faith in her school and is a very selfless individual. She has provided support and understanding whenever her students have needed it. From her, I have learned the importance of service. She has motivated me to treat others with kindness and compassion and how to fight for a cause. Therefore, I am highly honored to be able to talk about my mentor, Mrs. McKee, who is not just a friend or a teacher, but an inspiration to all.
At this time, I would like to ask the new members to rise to recite the National Honor Society pledge and the current members to reaffirm their pledge. I pledge myself to uphold the high purpose of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. I will be loyal to my school, and I will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. This year's new members have now officially been inducted into Sterling's chapter of the National Honor Society. Cassandra Baldino. Trinity Blank. Colin Chestnut. Renee Marie Cordone. Georgia Erdman. Peyton Feeney. Leilani Franklin. Allison Jeline. Donovan Gomez. Logan Hample. Samia Janatul. Paige Jewell. Stephanie Kelly. Antonio Klein. Kaylee Lamazny. Morgan Lewis. Riley Mansfield. Caitlin Mercer. Kat Ann Wynn. Benjamin O'Terry. Lisbeth Ramos Ochoa. Brianna Wren. Taylor Wren. Alicia Thornton. Dania Wade. Amanda Ware. Allison White. Jason Yang.
Once again, let's have a round of applause for all our new inductees this evening. At this time, I'd like to introduce our honorary National Honor Society member, Ms. Lena Walsh.
It is truly an honor to be here tonight. Thank you, NHS inductees, for selecting me to be the honorary member. At the beginning of the school year, Mr. Sheehan shared with staff here at Sterling a book with inspirational messages to help us smile, and move throughout the year. Each person was to read Sam Parker's book and write a message before passing it on to the next member. Being a chemistry teacher, the quote that jumped out to me was B212. And as I was racking my brain, trying to figure out what I was going to say here tonight, an email popped up from Mr. Sheehan, once again, reminding me of my favorite, 212. See, at 211 degrees, water is hot. At 212 degrees, it boils. And with boiling water comes steam. Steam can power a locomotive. That extra degree makes the difference. Something as small as 1 degree can have a huge impact and change properties drastically. There are many students that have A's, that participate in clubs and athletics, or volunteer to help. It is being that extra degree that makes you stand out. So why do people stop at 211 and not make it to greatness at 212? This 1 degree change takes more energy or effort than any other number change. See, water needs to break free of itself to change state. And just like water, we sometimes need to overcome a mindset that we create for ourselves. Instead of asking, is this going to be on the test? Ask, how can I apply this to my life? Your life experiences will by far outweigh your rank or your GPA. Remember that being a leader in the school is not just about having the title. It is what you do with your role. Take that extra step. Push the boundaries. Do not comply with the status quo or what the previous person in your position did. Ask yourself, how can I make this experience even better? Leave your mark and a piece of yourself on everything you do, and do it selflessly. Being selfless is not an easy task. It requires you to show empathy, support, love, and encouragement. And don't just do it to your friends, but everyone you encounter. Help the fellow classmate. Listen with an open mind. Smile at another student. It's contagious. There's not always going to be an award or even a reward for every accolade you deserve. Have integrity and be 212 when no one is watching. Inductees, you are all up here on this stage tonight because you have been recognized for your scholarship, leadership, service, and character. You have shown that you have the ability and the potential to be 212. When you feel like you're falling short, remember how Olaf says, water has memory. If you get lost or lose your hotness, learn from your mistakes. You will find your way back. Your fate lives within you. You only have to be brave enough to say it. Follow your passions. Stay true to who you are, even if it means talking about water to a full auditorium. And do not be afraid to embrace that change when it comes. Thank you.
So ends the chemistry lesson. At this time, I'd like to congratulate again the entire Sterling High School National Honor Society. Thank you to everyone for your support and your participation in tonight's event. I want to especially thank Mr. Kay, Ms. DeCiano, who helped with the certificates, who I could not do this without. Special thanks to the maintenance crew for setting up everything for me this evening. And thank you for everyone, Ms. Walsh included, Ms. Billingsley, who's hiding somewhere in the back, for making this evening go so smoothly. Thank you once again. At this time, I ask the members of the NHS to rise. As we exit this evening, I would just ask you to wait till all of the inductees have moved out of the auditorium. They will meet you back in the lobby when we're complete.